Hi guys, I have another scrapbook layout and I am going to share this one. This is another one for my daughter's album. You're going to get tired of that, I promise. And this is when we've gone to the zoo several times and did the bird exhibit where you get to feed the birds, and all the birds come over and flock all over my daughter, and she's got these little cups of sugar stuff to feed them, and they love it. It's so cool, and I've got lots of pictures of her covered in birds. So that's what this layout is, and I'm using lots of bright colors, and I think I'm going to really like it. I've used this beautiful bright orange piece of cardstock in the back. It's 12 by 12, and this beautiful bright blue that's 11.5 by 11.5 piece of cardstock on top. Now, the majority of my images, well, what I should say, every bird image I did as a print and cut, because I was lazy and didn't want to paper piece them all together. So I've done them all as print and cuts, and I have a lot of images to go on this 2-page scrapbook layout. And all of my images come from Cricut Design Space. And I'm trying to decide where I want to start. So bear with me. First thing I'm going to do is this branch that I've cut out, and it is paper pieced. And my branch, this is the large one, and actually I had done two, and then I kept the large one and decided not to use the small one. So my large one is cut at 9.36 inches wide by 3.12 inches high. And then I added that foliage on it. And my branch comes from the picturesque Cricut cartridge. And then my foliage I placed on top and have already glued down on top, and it is cut at 4.93 inches wide by 2.79 inches high, and it comes from How Does Your Garden Grow Cricut cartridge. And I'm going to place this right up here at the top, and I'll be cutting some of it off, obviously. And right there is where I'm going to place it. And then my next image that I'm going to lay down is a pine tree that I've cut and paper pieced together. And I think it's a pretty freaking cool looking pine tree. So, and I've got it cut at 7.14 inches wide by 9.27 inches high. And it comes from a Cricut cartridge from Close to My Heart. You won't find it in Design Space to purchase because you have to purchase it from Close to My Heart. And I love their cartridges. And if you want them, I think you might ought to get those Close to My Heart cartridges soon, because I have a feeling they're going to discontinue those. I don't know. I just have a feeling that that will be the case. And those cartridges cost anywhere from $79 to $99 when you purchase them from Close to My Heart. But they're well worth it. They have 700 images on each cartridge. So it is worth the investment. I'm going to lay my tree right there. Obviously, I got some of it to cut off too. And then my next thing that I want to put down is my photo mat. I did it in a bright yellow background that is 6.5 by 4.5, and my bright red is 4.25 by 6.25. I'm going to lay it down next. And this is heavy cardstock. I'm going to put it right about there. And then my next image that I'm going to lay down is a gate or a fence. I call it, it's a gate is what it is. I cut it at 11.5 inches wide by 4.82 inches high, and it comes from the Cricut cartridge ornamental iron. And there's a little bit of paper piecing on this. Not a lot, but a little. So I'm going to glue this down with wet glue because it's thin. And then I don't want parts coming over the photo mat. I had filmed another video that I have not uploaded yet here that I decided I'm going to wait until Saturday for National Scrapbooking Day before I upload it, and you'll see that one first, then you'll see this one, because my plan is to upload 3 scrapbooking layouts on Saturday. So this is going to be one of them, and you'll see one prior to this that is from my daughter's student ambassador trip that she took, that I talked about with the Paris layout. And then there is the other one that is Holland that you're going to see before this. And then I'm also going to do a third one. I haven't cut it out yet. I have designed it. I haven't cut it out yet, but I plan on cutting it out tomorrow and getting it all paper pieced together and then filming it on Saturday morning. So that's my plan. Keep your fingers crossed that I can fulfill my plan. That's the goal. This is to upload 3 scrapbook layouts on Saturday, and if I do it, that's a huge accomplishment for me. Huge. So, and I should be able to, because I've been on a roll the last couple of months with my scrapbook layouts, and I think it's because I'm having such a blast putting these together. And this is a little bench, and it is popped up on foam tape that I'm going to place right there. My little bench is cut at 5.05 inches wide by 3.77 inches high, and it comes from the Cricut cartridge Soccer. And then my next image that I'm going to lay down is this little pheasant bird. And all of my birds are print and cut. Everything else is paper piece, but all my birds are print and cut. And I got tons of birds. And I did some doodling on all of the birds. I used my black glaze pen on all of them for their eyes. And then I used my Stella on different parts of each bird as well. Now my little pheasant bird is cut at 2.19 inches wide by 5.47 inches high. And it comes from the Cricut cartridge Art Nouveau. And I'm going to set it right up here on this branch in the top of that tree, and I'll come back and put some wet glue on his tail. And then my next one is a little cockatiel, and it is cut at 1.87 inches wide by 3.69 inches high, and I used my white jelly roll pen, my black glaze pen, and some of my Stella on him as well. And he comes from the Cricut cartridge Pet Shop. I used a lot of Cricut cartridges on this layout. And I'm going to hide my paper piecing here because it looks funky. And I knew it would, but I knew I was going to put a bird there to hide it. And then my next image that I'm going to lay down is this little red macaw parrot, and it comes from Noah's ABC cartridge. It's cut at 1.38 inches wide by 2.44 inches high, and I'm going to lay it down flat. And I'm going to set it on top of my photo frame, or my photo mat. Oh goodness. And then my next one I'm going to lay down is my little blue macaw parrot. Oh, if I can speak. Again, I use my black glaze pen, my white jelly roll pen, and my Wink Stella all over him. He is cut at 1.10 inches wide by 1.94 inches high, and he comes from Noah's ABC Animals cartridge. And I'm going to set him right here on top of my gate. Then my next image that I'm going to lay down is my little puffer bird, and he comes from the Seabirds and Fish cartridge. He's cut at 1.97 inches wide by 1.93 inches high. I use my black glaze pen, my white jelly roll pen, and I use my Wink Stella on his feet and beak. And I don't know if you can tell or not, but I used a blue glitter pen for his little eye, and my lighting's kind of crappy in here. And I have my little puffer bird popped up on foam tape as well, and I'm going to set him right here on the bench. Now my next bird is this little red bird, and it comes from the Cricut cartridge Animal Kingdom. She is cut at 1.59 inches wide by 3.10 inches high. And again, I used all the same things: my black glaze pen, my white jelly roll pen, and my Wink Stella. I said her, but it has to be a he because he's colored so beautifully. And I'm going to set him here in my tree. And then my next image to go on this side of my layout is my peacock. My peacock is cut at 2.31 inches wide by 5.84 inches high, and it comes from the Art Nouveau Cricut cartridge. Making sure I didn't get anything on the part. I might have gotten a little on the body right there that I didn't want. So now we're good, because he's going to be sitting here on the fence, on the gate. So it's a very bright and colorful layout. So let's flip this over. Well, first thing I'm going to do is put some glue on my little pheasant's tail to make sure it stays down okay. He's not pretty without his tail, you know. So, oh, I need to get some on my red bird's tail too. Probably need some right there too. Okay, let's flip this over and cut off all the excess pieces. We'll start up here. There's a teeny piece of that branch, and then some of my tree. These are my Tim Holtz scissors, and I love these things. They're titanium or something, and adhesive doesn't stick to them, and it will cut anything like freaking magic. And if you're interested in the basic supplies I use, I will have a link to my Amazon storefront in the description box below so that you can find all of those things easily if you're interested. And I also have the paper that I use for print and cut. I use a solar white paper that is 80 pounds. I tried the 120 pound paper and it just won't feed through my printer. So I do the 80 pounds, which makes it hefty enough that I'm happy with it, but not so heavy that it won't fit through my printer, and not so thin that it's like copy paper. So I really like it a lot. So this is the left side, and the bright colors are coming together and looking really cute, I think. And let's move this one out of the way and bring over the right side of my layout. So again, it's the bright orange 12 by 12 cardstock with the bright blue 11.5 by 11.5 cardstock. And most of my cardstock all the cardstock that I use, the solid colors especially, is either from Die Cuts with a View or Recollections. It's all that I use for this, because I love it and it cuts like butter as well. So let me grab some of my images here, and we'll come in and start laying down this side.